Hello everybody, welcome to my new forecast video here today. A lot to talk about in this video. Happy Sunday out there. Hope everybody's having a great 4th of July weekend. And since it's 4th of July weekend, Mother Nature also is giving us some fireworks here with a lot of weather across the tropics and a very active severe weather pattern starting to set up across the northern U.S. From the northern plains to the Midwest and the Ohio Valley as we head through this upcoming week. So lots to talk about in this video, so do bear with me, but definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have not already, as I'm trying to hit 200 subscribers here as we head towards the middle of July. So definitely appreciate everybody subscribing out there. So thank you very much for that. So let's get into this video here. We do have some severe weather as we head into your Sunday afternoon. The Storm Prediction Center's Day 1 outlook shows an enhanced risk for severe weather here across central and eastern portions of Montana. We also have a large slight risk zone from Montana all the way down here into the Dakotas, especially southern North Dakota and basically the entire state here of South Dakota, western portions there of Minnesota, getting down to central and northern Nebraska, and then a large marginal risk kind of surrounding that, getting into western Iowa, down into northern Kansas, portions here of Minnesota, as well as far western Wisconsin, and then also getting back here into portions there of Idaho, eastern and northeastern Oregon State, far southeastern Washington State as well. Also a smaller marginal risk zone here for the Carolinas with some isolated stronger weather there as well. Kind of looking at the individual hazards as we head through the afternoon and evening today, we have two kind of different areas of a lower end tornado potential. We have a 2% area of tornadoes potentially developing later today across southeastern and southern Montana, getting into far western Dakotas. Also another area here across central Nebraska, getting into far southern South Dakota here as well. And then more of concern here is the wind threat. We do have that 30% hatched wind risk here. That's why the Storm Prediction Center put that enhanced risk across central and eastern Montana, where they do have that 30%, and also that hatched area of wind here and that black shaded kind of rainy looking icons there. You can see that is for 75 plus mile per hour wind gust potential across those areas here. That is why that is outlined here in black, also with a 30% chance of that. So a decent chance of 75 plus mile per hour wind gusts in that area. Otherwise, you got a 5 to a 15% chance of some damaging winds that could be up around 60 to 65 miles per hour potentially across the rest of the marginal and even especially that slight risk zone as we head into today as well. You also have that 5% chance here, some gustier winds across portions of the Carolinas, but really the main severe weather player here will be across portions of the northern plains, getting into the central plains here, and even back into the the northern Rockies as well. And then kind of looking at the hail risk, kind of a large 5 and 15% hail risk, kind of broad brushed across portions of the northern Rockies, getting back into the Dakotas, and then down into Nebraska here as well. Maybe as far east as western Iowa here and portions here of western Wisconsin as well. So let's kind of play this out on the reflectivity, and I do want to warn everybody that this is just one model run, so don't put a lot of money in the bank on this exact here, what the radar will look like, but it will kind of give you a general idea of what to expect here as we move forward here through the, day to day and then through the week here as well, as a lot of these, time of year, just a little deviation here to the north or south with some of these, mid-level disturbances in the atmosphere or, spokes of energy here around the northern periphery of this heat dome, kind of can shift a little bit around, and the location of these storms can kind of shift around. But right now, the strongest weather is appearing to be across portions of Montana and then getting down into the Dakotas and portions of central and northern Nebraska as well. So looking at the NAM model, this is the 0Z NAM model here, composite reflectivity. As we head into mid to late afternoon, we got some thunderstorms firing up here across southern North Dakota, getting into maybe far northern South Dakota as well. Maybe some renegade showers, storms here across central, Minnesota. Maybe an isolated severe threat there, but the main severe weather threat here will start developing across western Montana during the mid-afternoon hours, and that will start to spread into portions here of central Montana as we head into the early evening hours here as well, and that could pose the risk for that 75 plus mile per hour wind gust threat as well as that large hail that could be up to around quarter, maybe $half size. And then you got that 2% tornado risk here, maybe some, very isolated tornadoes here that can kind of spin up along the leading edge of here, this kind of line starting to develop. And then this will kind of shift off here to the east here. We got a couple areas we're watching eastern and northeastern portions of Montana here with kind of a spoke of energy pushing up into those areas, into the southern Canadian prairies. Also watching here a couple complexes of storms trying to initiate across portions of eastern Nebraska, getting into western Iowa, and then up toward the Twin Cities here in Minnesota, from Minneapolis, St. Paul, back westward toward the far eastern Dakotas as we head into the overnight hours on your Sunday. And this will can start to congeal more together into a big solid, mesoscale convective system pushing towards the upper Mississippi Valley and the Midwest here as we head into your early Monday morning, into portions here from La Crosse, Wisconsin, still back towards the Minneapolis-St. Paul region with some heavier rainfall, and then down towards Des Moines, Iowa, Omaha, Nebraska here. Still got some storms up across portions of northeastern Montana, but those might start to lose their luster, lose a little bit of the punch here as we head towards the Monday morning time frame, as the stronger shear starts to push off here towards the north and to the east. But just generally speaking, during this time frame, you can expect some heavy rainfall. We got a lot of, warm air to the south. We got a lot of moisture, heading into the north across these areas, and you definitely have a lot of, available moisture with this. These storms, you can definitely see some heavy rainfall. Not exactly taking this verbatim here that, along the south, North and South Dakota border, you're going to have, 4 inches of rain, but definitely gives you the general flavor that if you can get under one of these storm complexes here, wherever they do set up, then yes, you could see some, 2 to 4 inch totals just on your Sunday evening into the overnight hours alone across these areas. So that is something to watch here as well. And here's your Sunday temperatures here on your July 3rd today. On Sunday, you can see temperatures rising well into the 80s to the lower 90s, all the way up here into portions of South Dakota. You got some lower 80s all the way up here in North Dakota, portions of northeastern and eastern portions there of Montana. You got some mid to upper 80s here across the middle Mississippi Valley towards St. Louis, getting up towards Chicago here. And then the real heat starts to build across portions of Kansas, getting down to western and central Oklahoma, the Red River areas here down towards Oklahoma and Texas as well. The Dallas-Fort Worth area here approaching 100 degrees as we head into this afternoon. So some very hot temperatures, very dry weather down there as well. Lots of sunshine can be expected here across portions of Oklahoma, most of Kansas, and getting down into North Texas, and really most of Texas as we head into this afternoon. Then as we head into your Monday, the beat goes on with the severe weather here, getting very active across the northern U.S. here. What I was kind of warning everybody about in my previous videos, and this is the start of a very active pattern, and this will only continue here on your, the 4th of July day itself, on your Monday, July 4th. We got 2 separate areas here of a slight risk of severe weather. We got one across portions, once again, of eastern and central portions of Montana, and then kind of diving south and eastward here towards portions of South Dakota and into portions there of southwestern North Dakota. And then another slight risk zone here we're watching across portions of southeastern Minnesota, southern and central Wisconsin, eastern Iowa, and then getting into north central Illinois. This does include Chicago, Madison, Wisconsin here, getting up toward Rockford, Illinois, and then back towards portions of Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And then across the other slight risk zone, like I said, you got these areas that could have, different storm complexes moving through. And then you got that marginal risk that extends from Detroit all the way back up toward Green Bay, Minneapolis, St. Paul, and just up toward the La Crosse area. And then here you got some, lingering marginal risk areas here up towards the Fargo area and towards Grand Forks. So that is something to watch here as we head into your Monday, July 4th. And looking at kind of a 2% tornado risk across most of the upper and middle Mississippi Valley, kind of from northwestern Indiana here along the coastline there of Lake Michigan, kind of wrapping into portions of far southwestern lower Michigan, and then north central Illinois, including the Chicagoland area, Rockford, Illinois, the Quad Cities, and Davenport, Iowa, Madison, Wisconsin, really the entire state of Wisconsin in that 2% risk here of tornadoes on your Monday, even up toward the UP of Michigan, south central portions there of Minnesota, getting into eastern and northern and northeastern Iowa here as we head into portions of your Monday. So kind of looking at this Monday morning, we got some ongoing storms with a complex of showers, some heavy thunderstorms moving through Iowa, getting into eastern and southeastern Minnesota, getting into portions of Wisconsin, another complex of storms developing across the Dakotas that we'll have to watch, a little spoke of energy even back into central portions there of Montana. And then as this kind of pushes to the east, we got that, complex across the Dakotas moving in across portions there of northern and central portions of Minnesota. Now, again, this is just one model run, so these things can change very quickly here from run to run. So definitely have to watch this as we head through the next couple of days here, but definitely giving you an idea of, especially in those slight risk zones that the Storm Prediction Center did highlight, you definitely have to watch for that threat for for at least scattered severe thunderstorms as you head into your Monday afternoon and evening. We got some showers and storms moving into the Chicagoland area, maybe by the late afternoon hours. And then depending on if the atmosphere can kind of recharge across this area, we might have a southward moving MCS developing across Wisconsin, and then stretching over into portions of southeastern Minnesota. This might start diving southward into the better instability here. We got some strong instability developing here, potentially in the wake of the morning storms across these areas. So we'll have to see how that works out. And then this will start to dive down toward the south, toward the Chicagoland area, towards the, Gary, Indiana, getting up toward portions there of Grand Rapids, Michigan, and then stretching over into northeastern Iowa. We've got to watch for a damaging wind threat here as well. And then as you can see back off to the west and northwest here across portions of southern Canadian prairies, getting into Montana, the western Dakotas, another spoke of energy kind of riding around, around that large ridge of high pressure with all that heat and a lot of sunshine here from portions of the Dixie Alley and southeast, getting into portions of the central and southern plains. All that heat will be on. Like I said, on the northern periphery, you could have some very heavy rainfall with all the moisture here. The corn crops are starting to grow very efficiently now, starting to mature more. So you're going to have a lot of evapotranspiration, which is called also corn sweat, where the corn starts growing and you have a lot of moisture here drawing out of the corn crop. And you definitely could have those dew points well into the 70s, if not up to near 80 degrees at times here during this next upcoming work week. And that could yield some heavy rainfall. If you get under these heavier complexes, definitely wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility to have 2 to 3+ inches of rain across portions here of the upper Midwest and into portions of the Great Lakes. So that will be something to watch here on your Monday. As we go here into the Tuesday timeframe, Monday into Tuesday, we got this boundary setting up here across portions of the northern U.S. And this will also here kind of be a focal point between the heat and the cooler weather, relatively speaking. You got a lot of 100-degree temperatures from Nebraska, western Iowa, all the way to the south across portions of Kansas, Oklahoma, getting into northeast Texas here. We got some lower 100s in those areas, maybe a few areas approaching 105 here from Nebraska down through Kansas, Oklahoma, North Texas as well. You got the 90s across portions here of the Ohio Valley, stretching down to the southeast. Up towards the northeast, you got some upper 70s, lower 80s, and then across portions of the west coast and towards the Rockies, you got some just generally, a normal type of, seasonable weather, with the temperature wise as you head into the 4th of July itself. So that's kind of your 4th of July temperature outlook here as we head towards as we head into tomorrow. So that is something to watch. And then here's your Tuesday, July 5th high temperatures. And as you can see, this ridge doesn't move much. It might kind of retrograde itself more westward, but generally here a lot of 100-degree temperatures expected from Iowa and Nebraska and southward here across the Ozarks here in Missouri, getting into portions of Kansas, Oklahoma, into much of Texas here, and then a lot of 90s across the Ohio Valley, southward into the Tennessee Valley, the southeast and up the east coast here towards Maryland. So a lot of 100-degree temperatures, a lot of 90s out there, and you'll be feeling that summertime heat this week as well. And then we'll continue with this active pattern across the northern plains here, getting into the Midwest, the Ohio Valley. We got a stationary boundary setting up, and right along this boundary is where we could see those ridge riders, as we call them, those MCS or mesoscale convective system complexes of storms that move along the stationary boundary here, and continue to wreak havoc on areas across portions of the northern plains, the Great Lakes here, and portions of the Midwest and Ohio Valley, maybe even the Mid-Atlantic here as well. So that will be something to watch. Now we'll switch over here to the European model here. It's got a good, a good grasp on things here as we head toward the middle of the week. This is Tuesday afternoon here. We got kind of a potential of a convective system moving through portions of Indiana, getting into Ohio. We're watching upstream again across portions of the northern plains for more activity as we have another spoke of energy starting to push in from the Canadian prairies here, getting into portions of the Dakotas and eastern portions of Montana into the northern plains as we head into the evening hours on Tuesday, and that will be the driving force behind another complex of storms that could be diving to the east-southeast across the Midwest and northern plains as we head into the overnight hours into Wednesday morning. And that will be the case across these areas, just a parade of short waves, a parade of complexes of storms, and each one of these could be producing some very heavy and torrential rains, some flooding rains, and even some severe weather through the week. Now, as we head into Thursday, we got a couple of boundaries setting up here. A lot of action here across portions of the central plains and potentially the northern plains and getting into the Midwest, the Ohio Valley here as well. Some popcorn type storms across the southeast, and you still got that monsoonal weather continuing here across New Mexico and Colorado here on the other side of the ridge, here on the western edge of that ridge, here on your Wednesday. Tuesday and Wednesday. But looking at Wednesday, July 6th, still those 100s hanging on. St. Louis 100 degrees, getting down to 100 near Joplin, Missouri, Springfield, Missouri, Wichita 100 degrees. We could be approaching 105 up towards Wichita Falls. Even the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex here approaching 102 to 105 in those areas as well on your Wednesday, July 6th period. So that will be something to watch. And then as you head into Thursday, July 7th, just a lot of consistency across portions of Oklahoma, Arkansas, and portions of Texas here approaching 105 yet again on your Thursday as well. And this is concerning when you have this much heat and it's just sticking around for so long. You almost have to get concerned about the northern edge and the northeastern periphery here of all of this heat, as you have all that hot, dry weather, and then you have all that moisture here moving up to the north into portions of the Midwest. A lot of instability and energy building, and that's where you can have that progressive pattern with those very strong windstorms across those areas, otherwise known as derechos, that we'll have to contend with. And this is kind of, the ground zero for derechos across northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin, getting into the Ohio Valley, kind of on up into the upper Midwest here as well, and extending back down to the middle, the mid-Atlantic. And this is the very area where we're going to be watching for that threat as we head through the week of derechos here, those very long-lived, storm complexes that go long distances, hundreds and hundreds of miles, that could produce, widespread wind damage. So that is definitely something to watch. And kind of, the frequency of these progressive derechos, kind of a second season here into July as well, kind of another uptick in that percentage here of derecho development here climatologically across that July period. So that is something to watch. But just in general, over the next week or so, you can expect a very active pattern here from the southwestern Canada, getting in through the northern plains, the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes, the mid-Atlantic here, much of the East Coast and towards the Tennessee Valley, the southeast, you'll get your fair share of rain. We still got that monsoonal weather continuing here across New Mexico, getting up into Colorado as well. But underneath that ridge from Texas on up into Oklahoma, even though you see some green here, I do not expect this to really be the case. You got a very strong ridge. You have a lot of suppression. You don't have a lot of rising air. You got a lot of sinking air, and that means a lot of sunshine and a lot of dry weather as well. Also some dry weather here across portions of Nevada, getting into California, much of the Southwest here with the ongoing drought. Unfortunately, I wish I had some better news for you guys, but you're going to be staying dry as well for the next week or two, as this pattern is very active across the northern periphery of all this heat. Now, turning our attention here to the tropics, we got some, nuisance tropical weather here across portions of the Atlantic, the Caribbean, and getting in toward the Gulf and, the East Coast. We got Tropical Storm Colin that, developed very quickly here out of nowhere across portions of the Carolinas. This is weakening very quickly, and well under probably tropical depression status at this point. And then there's kind of another open wave, and I emphasize that here very strongly, a very open wave across portions of the central Caribbean moving westward here. It has nearly a non-existent chance here of becoming anything. The National Hurricane Center does give this a 0% chance of development. Very sheared off. We're not seeing a lot of development with this, not a lot of organization here. So that's why I kind of said put the emphasis on nothing here developing. Look at the centers across portions of the central Caribbean, but then all of the thunderstorm activity is displaced to the north. So very unorganized. Also Colin being very unorganized here as well. But as we switch things over here to the Eastern Pacific, things are really getting very active here as we have Tropical Storm Bonnie that will actually become Hurricane Bonnie as we head into later today or even Monday morning. And this actually may become more of a medium type to even a higher end hurricane across portions of the open waters here, the Eastern Pacific, moving right along the Mexican coast here and then pushing westward with time towards the late week period. So that will definitely be something to watch. And very organized is this system here. Look at the organization. You got the very tall thunderstorm tops and with all the convection wrapping around a little bit of that center. And this might become more, favorable for development as we have a lot of warmer waters pushing into this area here. And you definitely have, the probabilities here of the tropical storm force winds here kind of staying more offshore here from Mexico. So if you live along the coastline of Mexico, you'll probably have some wave action here, some rip currents, so some stuff like that, but probably not seeing the stronger weather with the strong winds or anything like that. That'll stay off into the open waters. But just in general here, looking at all the waters here, you got the very warm waters here in the Gulf and into portions here of the the Caribbean, getting up into the East Coast here, across the Western Atlantic. Just waiting on systems over there. But into the Eastern Pacific here, we got some warm waters to take advantage of here with Bonnie turning into Hurricane Bonnie here. So, a lot of fuel in the tank, and that's where we got some hurricane action potentially as we head towards early this week. And that may extend with this thing may become a hurricane for almost a week's period. So that will be something to watch. Now, closer to home here, as we head towards the middle of July, we're watching still a very active severe weather pattern across the northern plains, the Midwest, and the Great Lakes. You still got that monsoonal flow here from western Mexico up into portions of the Four Corners. Still expecting a hot high pressure system across portions of the central southern plains extending over towards the Tennessee and Ohio Valley. And then we're watching here the Gulf Coast toward Florida, maybe here into the Carolinas as well, and kind of offshore into the Atlantic. Maybe some action down there toward the end of the middle and end of July that we'll have to watch, kind of hugging the coastline like Colin was. So we'll have to watch for maybe some low pressure systems that can start to bubble up here and start to wreak some havoc on portions of the southeast. But I do not expect even toward the middle of July for anything major to be happening across the U.S., but maybe some nuisance tropical depressions or low-end tropical storms potentially during that time frame. Now, I know that was a lot to get to, but I do appreciate you guys tuning in and appreciate you guys watching. Do be sure to like my video, give me a thumbs up, leave any comments, questions below. I'll be able to answer any of your questions, and remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel here as well. I'm trying to hit 200 subscribers. I do appreciate if you do so. Let family, friends know as well, as I do long-range weather forecasts daily here. We'll be doing this every single morning for the most part. I may take tomorrow off on doing a video here, but I will be do turn your notifications on, as I will be doing here periodic live streams through the week to cover the severe weather potential across the United States. I will be going live, keeping everybody safe here with watches and warnings and radar here as well. I'll give radar analysis and then be doing severe weather analysis here on different things as well with the radar and other things as well. So do turn all your notifications on, and I'll be doing that periodically throughout the week. So do be on the lookout for that, as severe weather definitely increases here through the week, and the potential for derechos does increase as well. So do have multiple ways to get warnings, and I hope everybody has a great, safe, and happy 4th of July out there. Thank you very much, and have a great day, everybody.